Welcome everybody. So glad to have you here. I'm Jenny Anchondo, and I'm here each and every Thursday as the host and moderator of these events for SARE National, where we are talking about service, employment, redevelopment, and each and every week we have a gifted and dynamic speaker come on to help to educate us and enlighten us and inform us. Before we waste any more time listening to my logistics speech, let me tell you about our speaker today, because the goal today, the topic is empower yourself and succeed in the new economy. So our speaker is Fabiola Mancillas, who is a Latina who immigrated from Mexico to the United States 39 years ago. She was just a little girl when she came here, but has fond memories of life there and life here. She has been an entrepreneur for the last 20 years as a franchise broker in the financial industry. So she focuses on a few main sectors: investments, insurance, and mortgage lending. So this is a really different concept for a lot of people. It can feel complex, it can feel far-reaching, but she's going to simplify it and bring down some of this for us. Her primary role is to train business-minded people in becoming brokers that can run their own financial agency or personal franchise. Now, her organization, Mancillas and Associates, is a part of the Private Business Builders School. How perfect for our group, right? BBS is a group dedicated to empowering and promoting its members and becoming successful entrepreneurs in the financial world. In addition to all of this, Fabiola is a wife, a mother, and a grandmother who loves to spend time with her family. She is incredibly busy, so we are really delighted to have her here, not only today, but next Thursday. So we will kind of continue and build upon both sessions. I don't want to take up any more of her time, so I'm going to mute myself, and don't forget to put your questions in the chat. All right, Fabiola, the floor is yours. Take it away.
Thank you so much, Jenny. Wow, I love your introduction. Thank you so much. You're so professional, and I'm just happy to be here, connected with a great group of people, businessmen and women, or aspiring businessmen and women. So very excited to be here again. So look, before I go into my main presentation, I do want to say one thing. Congratulations, everybody. Honestly, really, congratulations. Be proud of yourself. Be proud of who you are. Be proud of where you're at. Be proud for being here, right? Hey, you're thinking business. You're thinking growth. You want to self-develop. You want to be somebody. So you may have it all together. You may not have it all together. Sometimes we beat ourselves down thinking that, oh, that other person, that other business person, they have it all together. They must really know what they're doing. Well, guess what? They don't. You know, they're still struggling at different levels with different concerns and doubts. So, stop beating yourself down. It's perfectly fine. We're all in a path to growth and becoming better every day. We're human becomings, and that just makes it a challenge every day as we keep on going. So again, just congratulations. And I just want to suggest to never stop dreaming. Dream as big as you can. Dreaming is free. It doesn't cost you anything. And, bottom line, your dreams are the fuel. They're the fuel. You need the fuel to keep on going. And one of the things that can help you to dream and just to keep going in your journey towards success or whatever it is that you want to accomplish in life, is your why. Why is it that you do what you do? What wakes you up every morning? What excites you? What keeps you with that thrive, that emotion of excitement? So the why, put a reason, put a purpose to your business. Why do you want to do business? Why do you want to be successful? You may say, well, I want to do business because I can be my own boss. Well, to help you with your why, I recommend you go deeper than that. Don't just ask yourself why once. Keep asking more whys. Okay, so if you say, Fabiola, I want to be in business for myself, or I want to go in business because, again, I want to be my own boss. Okay, so why do you want to be why do you want to be your own boss? You may say, because I want to have my own schedule. Okay, I ask again, why do you want to have your own schedule? You may say, well, because I want to take care of my kids and be around their schedule and have a life that's flexible with them. And then you want to ask more questions. Well, why do you want to have that flexible life with your children? Well, because I want to make sure that my children grow in a safe environment. Well, why do you want your children to grow in a safe environment? So again, the deeper you dig into your why, you're going to be set. You're going to have a strong foundation so that when the first wind blows your way, it's not gonna throw you off. You're gonna keep on going. You may fall, but as long as you can look up, you can get up. So make sure that you always keep dreaming. You know your why. You put a purpose to your business because at the end of the day, that's what's gonna keep you going. All right. So I hope that it helps you guys. I was just, that was my basic intro before I go into the topic of today on the economy. So right now, the topic for today is empower yourself and succeed in the new economy, right? So let's talk about what is an economy. I want to make it as simple as possible, guys. I don't want to make this some intergalactic, scientific, presentation. I want to make it as simple as possible. We all need to understand it. So, three things that make up the economy. Number one, all the people making things. Number two, all the people using the things. And number three, all of the buying and selling of those things. Now, three things about the economy. We may see it as a bad, as maybe doing well, or maybe being a healthy economy. So when the economy is bad, that may mean that if the country doesn't make very much and doesn't sell very much, everyone has less stuff and less money. So that's when people may say, oh, we have a bad economy. If we go forward, there's a time when a lot of people have more money than they need to survive. When this happens, the economy is technically doing well. And in addition, when a majority of the people in the economy aren't stressed about money, then the economy is considered healthy. So again, this is just a little recap of what an economy is and how it's composed. Now, what is new economy? There's a difference, guys. And part two of this presentation, we're going to cover this topic here. We're going to cover the new economy on part two. So you don't want to miss it because I think you're going to learn a whole lot. What I can say now is that the new economy does require change and does require innovation. So if you're up for that and you don't want to be a thing of the past, you're a futurist and you want to be looking towards the future, you want to learn about the new economy. So it is a buzzword to describe new high growth industries that are on the cutting edge of technology and are believed to be the driving force of economic growth and productivity. So again, we'll cover more of that on our next session, next Thursday at 2 p.m. Okay, so hey, here's our answer to why is everything getting so expensive? Have you guys noticed that? Or am I the only one? Okay, so everything is getting so expensive. Well, it's because of inflation. Inflation is a general increase in prices. When a balloon is inflated, it does get bigger, right? So when prices are inflated, they get bigger or more expensive too. Inflation is the overall decline in the value of money as well, since the more prices go up, the less each dollar is worth. So we're in one right now. We're experiencing that in our economy today, and I'm sure everyone has noticed it. I'm not the only one. Okay, so again, we're in business. You're in business, or you may aspire to be in business. Well, how does this affect a business? Well, for one, it can get more expensive to run your business. It usually does. Not just yours, everybody's. You may need to pay higher sums for raw material and specific items may be in short supply. You may have experienced that already. You could also face rising employee costs, and clients may not be able to buy as many products or services as before. So again, yes, you could be affected by it. You may have already experienced some of the things that I'm sharing with you today. It's perfectly normal. I hope that you're not experiencing all of them or none of them, but in general, that tends to happen, okay? So in addition, we may be going into a recession. I'm not saying we are, I'm not saying we won't or we are, but I just want you to know what a recession is so that you'll understand that if one shows up, you may be a little bit more alert on how to react to it. So a recession is when the economy becomes less active, prices for goods go down, people lose their jobs, so unemployment increases. Okay, we went through a recession during the pandemic. All of us experienced it during the shutdown. That was considered a recession. Back in 2008, a lot of people losing their homes, and there was a big real estate boom, and then everything came back down. So that was another recession in 2008. So again, that could happen, and it probably will happen. Well, why do I say that? Because the economy works just like a clock, guys. I mean, if you see a clock, well, you're looking at one right now. The clock is going to rotate regardless, right? If it's working, it has to rotate. So we can be at 12 noon. We call that a boom. We could be at 3 o'clock when there's a contraction or a slowdown. We could be down at the bottom when there's a recession or a trough, or we can be in an expansion. So it's always going to rotate. It's always going to do its job. It's going to go through the ups and the downs. So let's talk a little bit about how that works. So an economic cycle is also known as a business cycle. So it is a circular movement of an economy as it moves from expansion to contraction and then back again. Economic expansion is characterized by growth. A contraction, on the other hand, will go through a recession, which involves a decline in the economic activity that spreads out at least a few months. Okay, so the economic cycle is characterized by the 4 stages that you see here, which are also referred to as the business cycles. And on average, the economic cycle in the U.S. has lasted roughly 5.5 years. So again, that's just average. And although these cycles do vary, okay? So again, that's what a cycle is. Now, let's take a look at each of the stages here. We're going to talk about the slowdown, which is the contraction side. We're going to start from the right down. So on the slowdown, what you're looking at is businesses are still operating in a healthy way, but they stop hiring new employees. Certain things are happening that make economists take a note. Slowly, the banks start increasing the interest rates on loans. People start to think twice about buying things like a house or a new car. So they're going through that. The prices of some items in the grocery store increase, like we've seen. Stocks on the stock market begin to drop. People begin to worry about their job security and begin to be cautious about spending money. So that's what we see happening in the slowdown. Next, if we see a recession, or when we see one, because the clock has to do its job, right? So sometimes a recession occurs when some major event happens, such as a stock market crash, a war, a major pandemic, a terrible catastrophe like a tornado, hurricane, or a drought. And we've seen most of these things happen in our economy. The world has seen all of these. Okay, so that is what happens in a recession. The interest on bank loans skyrocket. Businesses can't sell their products because people are afraid to spend money. They start to lay off their workers and close their doors. People lose their homes because they are no longer employed. All right, so that is a recession. Now we know from history that there was a Great Depression, right? Well, that was back in 1929. That lasted 10 years, a whole decade, and that's why it's called a depression, not a recession, because it took a long time to get out of that. So now when we go into an expansion, this is the time when businesses are booming, new businesses are opening, there are lots of jobs for people, wages are high, and the unemployment rate is low. People have extra money. They buy new houses, new cars. They go on trips to other, states and countries. They invest in the stock market. People can borrow money from banks at lower interest rates because they have a steady income. People are happy and have a lot of confidence that things will stay the same for a long time. All right. So those are the stages of the economy. The recovery, okay, the recovery sometimes, or the boom or the peak, sometimes it takes a long time for a country to come out of a recession. It varies. Again, the average turnaround cycle could be 5.5 years. The longest we've seen back in 1929 was 10 years. But again, we will see, we see it all the time. The clock comes back up to 12 o'clock. So again, sometimes you're going to feel like you're at 12. Sometimes you're going to feel like you're at 3 or at 6 or at 9. It's just doing what it needs to do. All right. So that's what's happening there. In addition, we're going to go here to our next slide. You may also see or acknowledge the economy as going through a bull or a bear market, or also known as a peak or a trough. So, when we talk about the peak, that just really means that, you're at the pinnacle of the business cycle or the economic cycle. So you're at the peak. It's, everything is up. And then when you're at the trough or at the bear market, that refers to a stage in the business cycle or the economic cycle where activity is bottoming, the prices are bottoming, and before they rise back again. So again, you may see and experience the economy as the bear market, the bull market, the peak and the trough. It's all the same thing. It's going through a clock, doing what it's supposed to do. All right. So we just learned that the economy cycles. Again, the clock has to do what the clock has to do. We just don't know when it's going to do it, but we can definitely have signs and signals. So yes, life has its cycles too, guys, and so does the economy, and so does the financial markets. But when it comes to market and business cycles, guess what? Emotions often get in our way. Strong feelings can cloud our judgment and steer us in, toward financial decisions that may not support our long-term goals or objectives. So understanding the market and the cycles of that and paying close attention to our emotions can help us stay on track. So let's talk about those emotions that we may go through. Okay, so here we are at the top. So the top is when the economy and the market reaches an exhilarating top or the peak. At this point, well, what's really happening here? Well, growth is strong, but moderating. Unemployment is low, and interest rates are often falling. However, corporate earnings are under pressure, and the risk of recession is rising. So again, some people here, we saw that in the pandemic, when we came back from a recession. It was a short one. Everybody was spending all their money. I'm not saying everyone, but a lot of people that I know, they received all kinds of money from everywhere. And I saw a lot of people just going to all different kinds of places that they've never gone before. And many of them even bought luxury items or a brand new car, right? Because hey, there's money. So we went in through that excitement, right? That peak. So you may know somebody like that. I'm not saying it's you, but you may know somebody. All right. So that's when we're at the top or the peak. Our emotions are, pretty much like, oh yay. So what happens when the economy is turning down? Well, after the peak comes the scary slide downward. The economy lurches toward recession, and corporate profits are sliding. What are you feeling here? Well, be on the lookout for fear and despair as the economy shrinks. And at this point, as fear sets in, we begin to assume that the economy will never fully rebound. You may feel the urge to sell your investments or even sell your business or even just stop everything cold turkey to avoid the pain of seeing your balances fall, right? What you want to consider here is, well, now the game is all about patience. It really should be all about patience. To combat the effects of fear, one thing you can consider doing is, take time to focus on things in your life that make you feel grateful. Because again, if you're in pain or in fear, you need some time off, right? You need some time off to just, hey, feel grateful that you're alive, feel grateful that you have a family, feel grateful for whatever it is that you have. Because science has proven that gratitude does increase patience. So there you go. We can all use some of that. All right. So now that we know what happens when things are turning down and how we react, we go to the hitting bottom emoji here. We're pretty sad. So for some businesses or some business owners and investors in the market, bottom is thunderous and depressing. That's pretty much what we're looking at. business profits can drop more than here in this phase, even with a solid business plan. You may have everything going your way. You may have all the ABCs connected or the 1, 2, 3s, but still, you may feel defeated. So this can be a point of maximum pain, but also a point of maximum potential. Yeah, maximum potential. And we may not understand this now, but hey, once we finish with all this, I'm hoping you will understand why. So what do you want to consider here is, well, the key is perseverance. Perseverance. Now is a chance to do business in even better ways. In this stage, the stocks are down, right? So the stocks are on sale. This can be an opportunity to expand and invest and put more money into your business or in the stock market, because historically powerful rebounds have followed some of the deepest market drops. So knowing that, you can actually take advantage of hitting a bottom if you know what you're doing, and with the basic knowledge that I'm sharing, you should be able to. All right, so next we are in the rebounding. Okay, so just know that after being in the bottom comes the cautious enthusiasm of an emerging bull market. The economy shows signs of a rebound. Interest rates are low and corporate profits are rising, and so are the stocks. So what are you feeling here? Well, it's hard to forget the pain of the profits falling. Your confidence may be shaken, and you may be wondering if you're cut out for an entrepreneur. But if you stick to it, you may be nurturing some hopes that your business and your investments will recover. So again, it's a time of uncertainty, right? Because you're remembering the pain. Oh my gosh, I already went through this and it's so painful. I don't know if I'm going to be able to get back up on my feet. I don't know if this is even for me. So again, if you stuck to it, if you just fought it and you went straight to it and fought it like a big girl or a big boy, then you're ready to keep on going, right? So again, what do you want to consider here? Well, here you want to think like a contrarian. Think like a contrarian. I'm actually going to explain that towards the end, okay? But basically, at this point, the economy is rebounding. If you remained in business, you see some recovery. This may be a good time to replan, restructure, change, innovate, because guess what? It's going to happen all over again eventually. We don't know when. And the next time it happens, you should be ahead of the game. You should be a step ahead or 10 steps ahead or a mile ahead, because you really want to learn from your past experiences. All right, so that's rebounding. Now let's go to the rising again. Okay, so now the bull market is in play. Now the employees, the customers, the businessmen, and investors, here's where they're growing confident and even greedy, because they sense that acceleration again. The economy is expanding, stocks prices are going up. Here, many forget the basics. What do I mean by that? Well, because everything's going so good, everything's going so well, people forget the basics of the importance of having an emergency fund, right? You're going to need one eventually if stuff happens like it has. People tend to forget the importance of short-term planning or short-term investing, and even the long-term planning and the long-term investment. Because again, everything's going so good, it's yay me and yay you, and we're not really thinking in the future. We're not thinking ahead because we're so excited about our present. But again, remember that clock is going to cycle. So what may you be feeling here? Well, it seems like everyone is making money again, and every investment is a winner. Like every other business owner is making money, business is going well. So overconfidence can start to creep up during this time, and can make investors and business owners less careful. So again, we may forget the basics because we're not being so careful about how we make the moves because we're just comfortable, right? We're doing well. So what do you want to consider here? Well, you want to prepare for the next downturn. You want to plan ahead, take precautions, think twice before you take the action, and or whatever important business decision you're going to take. You really want to make sure that that's the right move. So, in short, what I would say here, you know, manage your emotions with a financial game plan. That's really the solution. Have a financial game plan. One for your business, one for yourself and your family. Have a financial game plan because that's really going to help you out so much. You may not even feel that you're going through a recession or a downturn in the economy. You may not even feel a thing. So again, having one in place is really the key here. So again, you want to consider how you felt when the economy or the market dropped, before, so that you know what it's like to be in there again. So look, if recently or in 2008 you felt scared, I think we all felt scared at some point with this pandemic. I mean, we hadn't had one like in over 100 years. So if you at some point felt scared or even angry, right? Well, it may be a good opportunity to take a step back and evaluate, where you're at financially, in your planning, in your decision making. So again, if you don't have a financial plan or a business plan, you definitely need to get one in place and stick to it. All right. So that should really help. When that clock cycles again, you're going to be in a better situation. Okay. So the next part we're going to cover is to help you understand a little bit further the ups and downs of the economy, the cycling of the economy, how everything works, how emotions are attached to that, right? If we don't really fully understand what's going on, what's going to help us is this little story that I'm going to be sharing with you. And we call this the tale of three investors. So we're going to talk about three investors, okay? So again, it's just a little story to help us. All right. So we're going to start with Lucky Lucy, but before I go in that, let me just say this. All of the three investors that you're going to learn about, each of them started with a $10,000 investment, okay? So they did that in January 1st of 1979, and the money was invested in the S&P 500. And they kept their money fully invested until December 31st of 2018. So we're looking at 39 years, okay? So again, that's what we're going to be reviewing. So our first investor, or our story here, begins with Lucky Lucy. So listen to Lucky Lucy's story. Okay, so she invests $10,000 in the stock market and has nothing but positive monthly returns for an astonishing 20 years straight. In the process, becoming a millionaire in 5.5 years and gaining worldwide fame for her impeccable market timing. My gosh, isn't that exciting? So her massive wealth and fame peak at $283 million. That's where you see her peak. But then she can only watch it all fade away as strategy crushes her wealth. So she's back down here, and she's actually at 786. All right. So that's Lucky Lucy. Let's jump into our next character. And this one is Loser Larry. Okay, as should be expected, he's investing $10,000, and he does that the day before Black Monday, and then proceeds to be beset by the worst financial catastrophes in recent history. His doomed investment dwindles down to 12 cents. Oh my gosh. His car explodes, his house burns down, and his dog runs away. After years of long agony, he finds a 4-leaf clover, and his wealth accelerates upward with all the gains coming in those last heady years. Finally, okay, so again, we just finished with Loser Larry. He's back up at 786 when he was at 12 cents. I know, right? Now let's take a look at Reality Randy. Okay, so Reality Randy, who invested in the real world that we know of, where all the things that happen in the real world happen when they should, and his wealth grew steadily over time with occasional pullbacks and surges. So look, the real world doesn't seem so bad when compared to the extreme stories I told you, with Larry and Lucy. But regardless of the story, the main point is that the sequencing of investment returns does not matter for long-term investing. All three of our investors ended up with exactly, at the same place financially, that 786. All right, so we have no control over the timing of world events or how the markets will react to them. The real driver of long-term wealth is the amount of time spent in the market and the power of compounding. Same thing applies to our businesses, guys. Time. You can't build a business from one day to the next. It takes time. It takes patience. It takes, a certain level of skill. You have to let time and your effort, time to compound, right? Time and effort, your sweat equity, give it time to compound. So anyhow, what we need to do in reality is, let's stop worrying or fretting about current market conditions, and let's just stay focused on our destination, not the journey, let's just keep going. When it comes down to our long-term goals and objectives, let's just keep going because we know it's going to be all for the good. So again, that was just a story to help you again realize and understand what happens in the different stages of the economy, how we react to them, how we feel when we're going through that, and more importantly, what can we learn? What can we learn from all of this, right? Well, that's what I'm going to cover next. Oh, by the way, before I cover that, this is when I talk to you about, being a contrarian, to help us understand what that means. Well, here's a quote by Warren Buffett. He says, "Be fearful when others are greedy, and greedy when others are fearful." So what does that mean? Well, if you see that the crowd is going one way, you want to go the other way, go the opposite. That's pretty much what it means. Everybody's doing, everybody's shopping and going crazy with their money. Don't do that. Put the brakes. When everybody's putting the brake, you may be putting the pedal. So again, being contrarian tends to work, by the way. So you may want to think about that and start implementing that as well for you, for your business. All right, so what can we learn about all this, guys? Well, personally, I believe it's important to be a mindful entrepreneur. You may be a very successful one right now. You may be one that's just starting. You may be aspiring to be one. It doesn't matter what level you're at. We need to consider three things. Be mindful, right? In three different areas. Number one, by being aware. Okay, so what do I mean by that? Well, be aware of your emotions. Be aware of what emotions run your life. There's two major emotions that human beings experience. You and I experience at some point in our life. The two major ones are fear and anger. Those are the two major ones. And they do play an important role in our decision making and how we run our life and our business. So, be cautious of that, because once you understand what fear is, I think you're going to keep moving forward much easier and better. Fear, the acronym fear, to me, is just a false evidence about reality. False fear, the false evidence, there's really nothing, you can't really see. It's just like a shadow, right? You can't touch it. It's the false evidence about reality. So one of the things that can help us with fear is taking action, which we'll cover last. So be mindful of that. Anger, what happens when you have too much anger? Well, it could destroy you and destroy the people around you. Uh, Going back to fear, what can fear do to you? Well, it can paralyze you. Okay, so again, just be cautious of those two things. You don't want to be paralyzed, and you don't want to destroy you and the people around you. So again, be mindful of that. And things are going to happen in life. Just like the economy is going to do what it's going to do, there are certain things in your business, in your family, in your life that are going to worry you, that are going to stress you. But think of this, is really not what happens to you. It's how you respond to what happens to you. How do you deal with the situation? How do you deal with that circumstance? Are you feeling under the circumstance, or are you above the circumstance? Right? So it's really all about being mindful. When you go through a bad situation or a bad experience, do you get bitter or do you get better? Right? So what do you do? How do you react? So the other thing that you want to be aware of is of being a thermostat, not a thermometer. So what do I mean by that? Well, when you're a thermostat, you control and you set the temperature. You set the tone for your business. You set the standards. You set whatever it is that you want to set. You put in that foundation. The way you want it to come out, that's up to you. You set those standards versus being a thermometer. A thermometer just measures the room temperature. If it's hot, well, you're hot with it. If it's cold, well, it goes down, cold with it. So you really want to stay with the thermostat mindset. You're the one that sets the tone, the future. You set everything. Okay, so that's number one, and about being a mindful entrepreneur. Number two, understand. What do I mean by understand? Well, this is the point that you want to seek knowledge. You want to seek knowledge. You want to self-improve. You want to get better as a human being, as whatever role you play in life. You could be a mom, a spouse, whatever it is, a businessman and woman. You know, just seek knowledge. Self-improve in whatever area you need to improve. Maybe you need to read more books or a certain type of books that will help you. You want to become a leader? Well, our leaders are readers. We have to be reading something. So do that. Grow. You may already be good at what you do. You may have really good knowledge of your product or your service, which is amazing. You have to know that so that you can, have profits in your business. But how good are you with people skills? Can you improve there? Can you understand that, hey, there is a need to have a certain level of people skills, customer service skills, right? How are you treating your customers? How, what's going on in your business in that uh, aspect. The other thing you want to do in number two here is reflect. You want to use reflection to help you. So look, we can all learn from what we experience. So we can ask ourselves questions like, okay, every situation that we go through, let's realize that it's a learning experience, right? We can learn from every experience that we go through. There's definitely a learning process. There's something that you can get good from something that was bad. So every experience is a learning experience. So going back to reflection, when you are in a reflection mode, you're really asking a lot of questions. You're asking a lot of questions to yourself, to yourself. You're being analytical. You're asking the questions. For example, what could I have done better? How can my business improve? What is my business missing? What is it about me, personally, that I need to do to improve? Just asking those questions. Because what you're doing there is you're talking to your subconscious mind, and it's going to go to work for you, and it's going to bring an answer or the answers that you need, or the strategy that you need, whatever solution that you need to that problem or that challenge that you're going through. Is going to help you find it. It's going to go to work for you. But if you're not asking all the questions and you're just stressing about that and you're complaining about that and you're just, being negative about that, well, you're not going to get anywhere. again, you use reflection as an ally. Use it as a tool because it really does help. So again, that's seeking understanding. Use the meditation. And another thing I can say about questions, your questions will become your answers. You just have to keep asking them. You may not have the solution the next day or in a week. You may have a solution in a month or 2 or 3 months. But believe me, there may be times where you wake up one morning and the first thing you think about is that solution that you were seeking the answer to. I mean, it just happens. We were wonderfully made, guys, so take advantage of that. So again, you're going to have those aha moments if you take the time to reflect. And last but not least, you want to do step 3, which is taking action. All right, so taking action. Let me ask you something. When is the best time to plant a tree? Well, I would say the best time to plant a tree is 20 years ago, right? 20 years ago. So don't procrastinate, don't wait. The faster you move with the understanding and the awareness that we need, the better you'll be. So, just take action because action will cure any fear. Just take that one more step. Just go that one more, whatever it is that you need to do. If you need to take a course, if you need to get a certification, if you need to make another investment that's, you already analyzed, just take the action that you need because the longer you procrastinate, well, you're not going to have a tree, right? So again, make that move. All right. So even if there's fear, guys, move, right? Even if there's fear, we're going to move. All right. So I believe everyone has fears. It doesn't matter where we're at. We could be right at the bottom, just starting from day one. We could be in business for 10 years, 20 years already. I believe everyone has a certain level of fear, and we just move in spite of that fear. That's really what makes it work. We move in spite of. And, every time you're at a new level, well, there's new devils. You just have to learn how to fight them, right? So that's what new levels bring. And just remember, action does cure your fears. And the other thing that I could say here on step 3 of taking action is visit your future. So what does that mean, visit your future? Well, think about, the next 5 years, the next 10 years of your life in business. How does that look? Visualize it. Visualize it and have a feeling for it, right? Sit down and explore your future. Like really go down and put that movie in there, right? Create it. Again, we're created in a magnificent way and we're able to do those kinds of things. So visit your future as often as possible because the more you visit that future, it will be a reality of you being in that future. All right, so do that. That's a really good tool that you can use. The other thing that I could tell you here on step 3 of taking action is work on your business, but don't just work on your business, work in your business. So there's a difference, working on and working in, and one of them requires that you have a system in place. So again, those are the things that I could suggest that you utilize to become a mindful entrepreneur. And just remember, guys, you are a somebody. You have what it takes, right? You're good enough. You can do it, right? Yes, do it in spite of the fear, do it in spite of whatever you're lacking. Just take those actions. This may be a time to collaborate with other people in your industry or other people that may be even out of your industry. Maybe the time to build relationships and connect with more business-minded people that can help you and maybe learn from their experiences. Whatever they went through, you may not go through because of what their knowledge is going to provide to you. So again, that is what I wanted to share with you guys today. I'm so proud of you. Congratulations for taking the time. I do want to share my contact information. I do love making new friends. I do love building strong relationships. So if anyone is interested in that, you can. I have my QR code for my Instagram. There's my email, and the way I'm on Facebook, just by my name, and that's my picture that appears on Facebook. So you can easily find me there. So anyhow, that is what I had to share with you guys. It's really been an honor. I'll turn it back to Jenny, and you can take it away, Jenny.
Fabiola, that was excellent. It really, really was. Everything from the presentation to your QR code. So I hope you guys got that. I pulled my phone out really quick and scanned it. I was like, oh, wait, get over here. That was awesome. That was really great. And so you were so kind to all of us at the very beginning and kind of lifted us up and said, congratulations, you're doing well. And some people in the chat have been saying that to you as well, saying that you were very informational and did a great job at explaining. So I hope that you feel the love from the group. Yes, so now we're going to start the Q&A time, you guys. We've got a little more than 10 minutes, which is great. We've got like 13 minutes here, and I'm going to jam pack it. And I wanted to start with this, asking how you deal with people who mean well, um, but they kind of unknowingly put you down with regard to those efforts. How do you deal with those people?
Okay, how do you deal with people that put you down?
Yeah, they mean well, but it's like it sounds like they're describing like a backhanded compliment. Like, "Oh, how's that little business going?" When you've got like like I don't know if you've ever heard that. I've gotten that
Yes, yes.
before.
Okay, I love your question, by the way, and I've gone through so many of those before. So I know exactly what you mean and how you feel. So, again, it's not what happens to you, but how you respond. And it's really not them, uh, because they may be ignorant on the fact of how business works and what people go through when building a business. So some people do it out of love to protect you. What I mean by that is that, oh, you should be careful, you shouldn't be doing that, or you should, why are you, this and this and that, and they're putting all the brakes to you going forward. So some of them may mean it out of love just to protect you and not see you fail. But really, what you need to understand is that even if you fail, you're failing forward, right? Even if you fall, you're gonna look up and get right back up. So it's just how you respond. And they may have limited beliefs on their own. They may be limited to their thinking. They may be limited to business in general. So I guess this is where you try to understand them. You know what? They're not there to mean any harm. You just love on them and appreciate their comment. So I would just say, hey, thank you for your comment and looking out for me. Or thank you for asking. Hey, my business is doing unbelievably well, right? So even if it's not, you're unbelievably well because your emotions are well. You're dreaming, you're going regardless of what happens. So it's just the way you respond. Understand them. Again, it's they don't mean any harm.
That's such a good perspective in terms of just knowing they don't mean any harm, kind of staying in your lane, continuing on. People are saying, thank you for explaining what a recession is. It's interesting because, of course, it's such a common thing. And if you asked anybody, what is a recession, or do you know what a recession is? Everybody would say, oh, yeah, of course. But really, until you hear that exact breakdown from you, you think, oh, I don't know that I knew exactly how to define it. So people are saying, thank you for that. Will you talk about this? You put up that QR code at the end, and you've been in business for a long time. You've been at this for a long time. How do you keep up with technology changes? Do you have a certain mindset or way of thinking? So in case somebody's feeling like, ugh, I know my old way and my old system, and I don't want to update it, and everyone just needs to use my system.
That's a
How do
great
you deal with
question.
technology?
You're asking me all the right questions, guys. Uh, because I am not a tech savvy person. And during the pandemic, I had to learn so much more. It was like I had to survive. So my attitude changed. That's what changed, right? Uh, I was I was blocked when it came to technology and learning technology. I was like, oh, that's not my thing. I'm not a tech person. Well, the more I said it and the more I thought about it, the more it stuck, I was. So when I was forced to learn how to use Zoom, or WebEx or whatever it may be, when I was forced to connect my iPad to do a presentation, when I was forced to learn more about social media, because to be honest with you, I haven't used social media for a long time. I just started using social media, guys. I'm being honest with you. I'm keeping it real. But again, my attitude changed. So when my attitude changed, the whole perspective changed. And guess what? It was like this light bulb came up or came on, turned on, and I embraced it. And it's like, okay, so I was asking some of the people in my office that know more about it, or some of the people in my family that know more about it. So, hey, how do you do this? Or hey, how do you do that? Or, oh, I really need to learn this because if I don't, I'm gonna be so irrelevant and be so behind. So it was just an attitude change, and that changed the whole thing about how I embraced it. And now it's like, oh, bring it on. I can do this. I'm up for the challenge. And we're actually going to cover more about that next week, because like we said, the new economy does require a lot of innovation and change. And guess what? I want to be relevant to the time and age. I don't want to be a dinosaur that just like, okay, what are you doing here? I don't want to be a rotary phone in an iPhone world, right? So again, you have to have that perspective of change is good, innovation is good. We need it. It's all good. It's good for me. It's good for the business. It's good for everybody. So I hope that helps.
Hashtag don't be a rotary phone. I'm with you. I'm also trying to not be a rotary phone. I think that there's just something unique about changing your mindset and about starting to think, okay, well, instead of being frustrated that I have to learn a new technology, I can look at it as a brain game or a brain exercise or, learning from other people, that sort of thing. So I love that. Um, we talked earlier on in the session, you spoke earlier on in the session about about the different types of personalities, the different people that, say you are somebody who has that friend who is like, I've got this best investment, never been better. I'm making all this money on it, plus, 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 plus. There's never any negative. And to your point that you explained about there's risk and reward with everything. How do you deal with that guy or that gal that's always coming at you with the next best thing or next best opportunity?
That's so great. Well, see, the thing is, they're always telling you about all the great. They're always telling you when they're at the top, but they never come and tell you when, hey, I lost money. Hey, the market went down. Hey, I had to sell some stuff because I was short on money. They're not going to tell you the negative cycles of what they go through. They're only going to come and maybe, shove it to your face that, oh, I'm doing all these great things. And, you know, sooner or later they're going to have some kind of loss or some kind of disadvantage. They're not going to be sharing it with you, so don't feel bad. I mean, just keep your own path, just stay on your own lane and feel, whatever vision you have for your business or for your family, just go with that. Because just like we saw on the tale of the three investors, you could be way at the top and then be way at the bottom. So it's going to cycle. Don't feel bad about that.
No, it's so true because it's really easy, speaking of social media, to look at somebody's social media. Of course, on their business social media, they're going to be talking about their great reviews and their great customers, and you think, man, that person, I guess, the pandemic didn't impact them because they're apparently doing so well. Nobody's telling their stories online about how they've struggled, right? They're usually online talking about their successes. So I think it's a very, very good point. Now, we're getting close to wrapping up here, Fabiola, and I would like to know what is the biggest challenge that you have been through over the course of your career? We talked about sort of these recent challenges with the pandemic. Perhaps it was something associated with that. Perhaps it was like recession 2008. Perhaps it was something before that. And how did you get through that big challenge?
You know what? We all go through challenges in life. They're always going to come and go, and they're going to be at different levels in your life. So, to me, what has helped me and what will continue to help me deal with any challenge, well, number one is my faith, right? Some people say fake it till you make it. Well, I'm not going to fake it. I'm just going to faith it. I'm just going to have that faith that, hey, everything's going to be for the good, right? So I'm just going to keep on going forward. I'm going to trust. And so the biggest challenge, really, I would say, is not really what has happened around me or the circumstances or the economy or any of that stuff. It's really the biggest challenge have been my limiting beliefs. I've been for years. I was limited in, my thinking. Uh, we're always thinking of the past, but we're not really learning from the past. We're just kind of bringing it with us, and it's just like a burden, and it's just annoying us, and it's not helping us with whatever weight we have to carry in the present, because we have so much more weight from the past. We can't even tolerate the current weight that we have to deal with. So to me, that was my biggest obstacle, just dealing with me, dealing with Fabiola, dealing with who she was, why, what's my purpose in life? What's my real why? Do I have a purpose to my business? Do I have a purpose to my life? So, just it comes down to everything that I just said, the reflecting. Um, the one thing that helped me though was this. And before I share that, let me ask you, um, maybe somebody has asked you already, or you've asked somebody else, what's the shortcut to success? I've been asked that before. What's the shortcut to success? And my response was, well, there's no shortcut. You just got to go through what you would got to go through, just go and face reality. Well, this is what I learned. The shortcut to success, there is a shortcut. And the shortcut to success is having a mentor. Have a mentor. So this could be, you know, somebody that's already successful, that is willing to share their success with you, their knowledge with you, their perspective with you. It could be, just attending conferences or meetings or events or reading or that kind of thing. So my biggest challenge was just me facing my own fears, facing my limited beliefs, and just finding the solution for that. So to me, it was just realizing that I had them, and then finding the right mentor. And not just one, but several. So I hope that helps.
Honestly, that is the perfect way to wrap up the session today, and just gives us something to think about, perhaps even some homework until we see you again, to think about, okay, do I have mentoring relationships in my life? Am I serving as a mentor to others? Do I have a mentor and multiple mentors for myself? I think that's a great way to wrap up. Fabiola, thank you. You've been wonderful.
Thank you, Jenny. I really enjoyed this, guys. Honestly, you need to come back, because I think next week is going to be revolutionary in the way we do business, in the way we think about the future. So come back and bring some friends with you. I think we can all learn and grow together, which is, the best thing. Collaboration is really a part of the new economy. Collaborating with each other, and connecting and winning together. So thank you so much, Jenny. I really enjoyed the time here with you. Really appreciate you, and so excited to be here today.
That's awesome, Fabiola. Thank you. And I will just echo what she said. Please come back next week. So here's the deal. The replay of this session will be up on Wednesday on Sarah National's YouTube channel. It's super easy to find. You can find it from Sarah National's website, or you can just search on YouTube for the Sarah National site. And lots of people saying in the comments privately that you were awesome, and all that. So just go forth with feeling the love. So that will be back on Wednesday if you want to watch the replay, or if you want to send it to somebody and say, hey, join me for next Thursday. Come back again. Tell a friend, tell a colleague, a family member to join us next week. It will be part 2 of empowering yourself to succeed in the new economy. Thank you all again so much for joining, and we will see you next week. Bye-bye, everybody.